What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle Crawford, and I've been tasked with the responsibility of giving you all a devotional thought today under the topic, Be Careful. And listen, you can find the foundation for this thought in Luke chapter 10, verses 30 through 31, which reads, Jesus took up this question and said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Verse 31, now by chance a priest was going down the same road, but when he saw him, he passed on the other side. Before we get into the charge for today that I'm going to leave you with, I need you to understand a few things about this particular text. The first thing I need you to understand is the dangers of the road. The journey from Jerusalem to Jericho was a dangerous one. It was a 17-mile trek down a rocky and mountainous terrain. It was known as a place where innocent travelers would be targeted, hunted, robbed, brutalized, and often killed. This is the reality of the man who was walking down the road to Jericho. The second thing I need you to know is that Jericho at this time was a popular hub for priests, meaning that if you were a priest, you probably lived in the city of Jericho. Because they were priests, which means they had to work in the temple, which was located in Jerusalem, we can deduce that these priests actually used this road regularly, which means they're accustomed to seeing brutality, injustice, terrorism, and acts of hate. But instead of using their priestly voice to declare that there's injustice happening on the road, instead of gathering the priests and the Levites to ensure that there is safety on the road, peace and justice for those who are targeted along their journey, they simply choose to cross the street to avoid and divorce themselves of any responsibility. The problem in the text is that this priest worships God in Jerusalem, and he worships God in his home, but he's silent about the injustices that people are dealing with on the road. He believes in a hands-on God who's active in his life and in the lives of his ancestors, but he's hands-off when it comes to working for justice for those who are targeted, killed, preyed on, brutalized on the road. He has compartmentalized God and has not allowed him to shift and shape his view on social responsibility. He's religious, but he's not a servant. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that God places this illustration of the priest in scripture to remind us to be careful. Be careful that we're not so caught up in our religious experiences that we forget our brothers and sisters who are suffering on the road. Be careful that we're not so caught up in self-preservation that we forget that God calls us into a lifestyle of sacrifice and servanthood. Be careful that we're not so temple-minded that we're of no use to those on the road. Be careful that our service to God is not confined to a location. And be careful today to be a servant and not cross the street when you see an issue.